Okay, quick disclaimer before we get started. The Blockmates podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. The information and opinions expressed on the podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Blockmates or its affiliates. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research and consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Blockmates and its affiliates are not liable for any losses or damages incurred as a result of the reliance on the information or opinions expressed on this podcast.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be back with Grant. I'm rough and tired. I feel like that's a recurring theme on these, though. We have no Mike, but we do have Alex and Grant here. So, hi everyone that's listening. Grant, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I see Mike crying like after the last one Thursday when we released episode 4. He called it. He said as soon as he steps away from the laptop, shit moves. so we've detained Mike away from the laptop so the markets can continue to move upwards. So happy days.
We did say, to be fair, didn't we, that it would be like a bottom signal, and we were right. And if I know Mike, he'll be on a sunbed listening to this as well, probably like drinking out of a coconut or something. So always look on the bright side, mate. I know you're out there. This time next week you'll be back on stream, so make sure you're enjoying it.
But the markets will tank as soon as he steps back.
Yeah. To be fair, we'll go straight back. I mean, didn't we like end Thursday with Goblin Town as well or something? Or was that Tuesday? I'm honestly losing track of what we covered.
Yeah. That was Thursday because things looked pretty terrible. But I always find when people lose their shit and say like the sky's falling and the world's ending, it's always just a good time, like for just a quick swing trade, because everyone's sentiment's so bad. Like it's just trade what the herd is, like counter trade the herd effectively when it usually works.
Do you think that's been exasperated as well by what we've had over the last, I keep saying 18 months or so, but I've been saying 18 months for a long time now. But do you think it's made worse by the conditions that we've been in for the foreseeable past? Is that a phrase?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because we always joke about you joining like literally at the Pico top, and you've only seen like down only markets. So you're wondering when all this like juicy gains are to be had and stuff like that. But what happens is you truly do not get extended and like long drawn out runs because and you've got to think as well, a lot of people who had quite sizable accounts sometimes through no fault of their own. You could argue like Luna was a ticking time bomb ready to explode, but that's easy in hindsight to say it. But the FTX thing, that wiped a lot of people out. So if people are trying to make it back in a series of trades and being really, really aggressive, on one hand, you've got those people trying to make it back and will cut anything anytime they're seeing green in the portfolio just to kind of minimize any further downside exposure. And then the other side, you've just got complete bear market PTSD, people just assuming that things are going to tank. And they kind of have been. Like we've had probably 2 extended runs, like one going into the merge and one going into kind of Shanghai effectively. So, but it's just bear market PTSD. And as soon as people realize that dips slowly get eaten and things return slowly to normal, profits don't get taken as quick as they do, and you don't see those pullbacks. But it's just that stage of the cycle where people are a bit more cautious. If you check out Discord, still people are not realizing how to take profits, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But it's just that point in the cycle.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I thought when we came on, by the way, that we'd be able to crush this in 15 minutes today, like has been the goal since we set it out, but we're probably not going to be because we're talking anyway. But it's good. Whatever. But let's get straight into it, as we always tend to. So the prices and flows. So Bitcoin is pretty flat, but we did see a little bit of movement over the weekend, didn't we? I was away from my laptop for 3 days as a normal human from Friday to a bank holiday, and again it feels like I've missed everything. So what's been going down?
Yeah, Bitcoin it seemed to move off the fact that, and everyone was expecting this, the debt ceiling is going to be effectively raised or kind of delayed, or they're just going to fudge the numbers again. I don't even know why they have this kind of thing. It's like they'll just do some political gymnastics to look like they've got everything under control on a macro level, and then as soon as that kind of got announced, which we expected it would, that it was going to be extended or delayed or whatever it is, the market seemed to like that, particularly trading over the weekend. Bitcoin seemed to enjoy that, so it was up to kind of 28.4, 28.5 on some exchanges. So, but as I said, pretty flat over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, and what about ETH?
Yeah, similar again. Just enjoyed that pump over the weekend, but looking at the past 24 hours, relatively flat again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like we've just had like a big BART, like instantly up, instantly flat, instantly down. It just looks like it's kind of just consolidating, and hopefully we kind of see some continuation there.
Yeah. Total market cap, 1.2 trillion. Binance inflows over the past 24 hours, like 49.5 million in the green. And fear and greed index is down 1.92%, 51, still in the neutral camp though. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's looking like people aren't getting. If prices are pretty flat and fear and greed starting to go up, that's to worry me a little bit. But people seem to be being a little bit more cautious this time.
Right, and why would that worry you a little bit?
Just people getting too greedy, not taking profits, too much leverage in the system, and it only takes like a short spot sell off to cause like liquidation cascades. So it seems like people have been a little bit responsible, and I don't know if that's down to not the reduced amount of places to actually trade on leverage, particularly in centralized exchanges. But we'll see. On-chain kind of leverage doesn't seem to be too extreme as well, so it's relatively good signs, I think.
Cool. And what I think we'll do is I'm actually going to jump straight to like the news flash in the pan, just so we can cover a couple of these headlines and then go straight into the biggest winners and losers. So Asia opens its doors in 2 days for trading, which we did talk about last week as well. Do we want to touch on that, or there's not really that much to say, is there, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we covered it in one of the last episodes, but it's just nice to see that there'll be additional liquidity coming in, like regulated liquidity as well. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it on June the 1st.
Yeah, and there's some news on Phantom as well.
Yeah, so Phantom have kind of started this, I suppose it's like a gas optimization strategy for any applications that are built on Phantom. So there'll be like 15% the gas fees taken will be distributed to partner projects on there. So if any projects are getting a large amount of user activity, then going through their contracts, and they're going to be additionally incentivized, which is great because it kind of downstream of that, you think, well, why would I build on another L1 that's not incentivizing me through user activity when I could kind of use or build on top of Phantom, and it's going to actually generate additional profits? Because I would say there's a lack of profitability and lack of product market fit for a lot of applications leads to them, and kind of the whole industry just being looked at as a bit of a joke, really. But I'd expect this thing to happen on other L2s and maybe even if Ethereum further down the line as well. So more the applications that they get the most traffic and the most users will effectively get a good kickback as well. Okay,
cool. So straight into the biggest winners then. So we did talk about Libra, which you're pretty proud of this one, aren't you? So if you are listening to Good Morning Degen, or you're not yet, this might be a good sign to start, because we did warn you about this one. But there is a little bit to this. So I'm going to just hand that off to you and let you kind of give the overall picture.
Yeah. I think episode 2 we did a couple of weeks back, might have been on a Tuesday or a Thursday. We spoke about kind of the liquid staking derivatives basket of assets continuing to look good. And then I suppose the market was just trying to find that one outstanding protocol within that basket that would do the business effectively. So I think the last time we spoke, it was in the kind of 140, 160 range. It's been very, very volatile, but it's just seeing ridiculous amounts of TVL growth. And a lot of kind of social proof from a lot of big players. So if you check the DBank leaderboard from like the most active followed accounts on there. Like I think the guy who's like number 6 has deposited like 10 million into Libra and then borrowed their EUSD stablecoin against it. So as soon as people start seeing, people with quite hefty bankrolls like depositing tens of millions of dollars into stuff like this, it just gives it that social proof and kind of spark the run up. Their TVL predominantly in staked ETH. So just as a recap for anyone, Libras are. It's not a liquidity fork. It's original code base, so you can deposit staked ETH from Lido in there and then borrow their EUSD stablecoin against it. And there's quite some hefty incentives on top of that. And that's the staked ETH deposit has crossed over 179 million over the weekend. So it's starting to be like some, big numbers are coming in. The EUSD stablecoin is the fastest growing stablecoin over the past week. That's up to 90 million. But just as I was saying, like there's not a lot of on-chain leverage in the system. There's 179 million staked ETH in there, and then people have borrowed 90 million, so it's around 50-55% borrowed against their staked ETH deposit. So it's not overly dramatic. If it was starting to get up to 70-80%, then I'd start being a little bit more worried. But yeah, 180% increase in EUSD minting. As I say, up to 90 million market cap itself now. So pretty fucking good growth over the past week for these. It's been a pretty good play, to be fair.
Pretty obvious clip for us there as well to shout about our own mini victory lap from the other week. We need to talk about Joe as well, don't we? Yes. Over to you again.
Yeah, so it's I think the great. Not financial advice before. If you listen to me, financial advice, you should expect to lose all your money. So I'm just gonna put that disclaimer out there. The great Joe repricing, as I've called it on my Twitter. But there, for a long time, you could only stake your Joe on Avalanche, which obviously, not an immense amount of volume goes through Avalanche anymore. And since Trader Joe deployed on Arbitrum and BNB or BSC chain or whatever they're calling it these days. So Joe staking has gone live, and I was very pleasantly surprised at what the APR on that was. I think it was at 30%. It's down to around 25% at the minute, which is just indicating that people are buying and staking to kind of try and absorb that yield. And the benefit of it as well, you're not getting kind of paid out in additional Joe tokens. You're actually getting paid out in stable coins, so USDC as well. So just as a recap on Joe, it's probably, in my opinion, the biggest concentrated liquidity competitor to UniV3. And UniV3, as everyone knows, they don't have revenue share to their token holders. So they've also just had the auto pools go live, which we had Blue and Davide on the podcast a couple of weeks back. So if anyone wants to listen to what that actually means, they can go and listen to that there. But effectively, it's automated management of LP pairs on top of Trader Joe's liquidity book. So it can be quite complicated for people to manage LP positions, and they're just going to make it really simple, like two click in and out. And then something that we'll talk about in a second as well, the supply overhang. So there's only 2.3% of all Joe left to come onto the market. So there isn't this like really big kind of supply that's going to hit the market anytime soon. And I think a large portion of that 2.3% is actually for community incentives and stuff as well. So everything seems to be lining up for it, and they're great guys, they're great builders, and you'll love them. You'll love their branding and their brand assets. Al, if you haven't seen their new branding as well as a. Oh no, I haven't actually. No, it's really, really, really good. So I just want to see them do well, and I think it's drastically undervalued. As I said, not financial advice or anything.
Yeah, I do love our new disclaimer that you've done on the YouTube, by the way.
I have to, because people just get fucking shouted at them. It's like, do not follow me for any advice. I'm literally an idiot.
Mate, you're so convincing though, but that disclaimer is a panicked grant.
I actually got it off. I used Bard to generate it for me.
Oh, bloody hell, fair play. See, all about cutting corners here, aren't we? And biggest losers as well. I told you we'd have a lot to talk about with Libra, but Yeah. We're actually going to throw that one in here too.
Yeah. So since the last time we chatted, it was up like 3x. And since then we've had
The last time we chatted 5 minutes ago.
yeah. So
since
Thursday's episode, it's up quite big, and then last 24 hours, it's down 30%. So a bit of snooping at what was actually happening there with regards to who's selling and stuff like that is there was a wallet that had accumulated around 400k worth, like you in dollars, and they proceeded to sell in quite large clips. So we checked a little bit more on that. They don't have any additional LBR in that wallet. Doesn't mean to say that they haven't loaded up additional wallets, because if you were smart about it and you were going to try and scale into something, you wouldn't want everything in one wallet, because if someone sees a large wallet selling, people could be spooked and people could notice that and then start selling. But if you've got it separated across multiple different wallets and you're just taking clips out of each one simultaneously, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do that, but you're not going to spook that there's one large wallet selling. So who knows if they haven't got any additional wallets, but that's what seemed to happen, and it looks like it's starting to consolidate and potentially move up again.
Cool. And I guess one of the things, and we can throw some extra bits in, but to try and keep these short and concise, is there is a note on WorldCoin. We do have something coming out probably mid to late this week. But let's just touch on that quickly anyway before we do that.
Yeah, so I think that's like Wednesday or Thursday we're going to release that. That's WorldCoin is, I think it's a bit of a scam, to be honest. Not a scam, but I think it's just not really well thought out. So it's effectively Sam Altman, one of the kind of founders of OpenAI, that was funded by Elon before it was even a thing. So his project WorldCoin will be launching using like the OP stack, and that's trying to create a way to allow people to get universal basic income in a kind of trustless manner using this weird orb biometric scanner. You'll see it all in the article, and we'll make sure we make a big song and dance about it. But what's the reason we brought that up is Optimism has got an extremely large unlock that's happening. If you listen to this now, probably in 12 hours time, you can check on tokenunlocks.app, I think it is, or .com, and they'll show it's a 9% unlock, which is roughly 540 million. And you can see the breakdown of what that unlock and how that unlock's distributed. And this is actually the first time that core contributors and investors will actually get their hands on these tokens. So it looks like Optimism have got a lot of kind of big catalysts coming up. So they've got Base from Coinbase using the OP stack. They've got WorldCoin coming up, as we just mentioned, and they've got the Bedrock upgrade. But I think I've mentioned on this segment, and definitely on the Blockmates kind of catch-ups and stuff like that, projects will always try and coincide a big positive market catalyst with a large token unlock, just to try and reduce any immediate kind of market impact on that. But $550 million worth of OP tokens, the first time that investors will get their hands on tokens, it's going to be a hard one to be a bullish unlock that, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through. I'm wondering if there's anything else that we wanted to throw in there before we call it a day for this one.
I think that's it. I'm sure there'll be something that happens before this goes out, as there always is. Some huge piece of news.
Yeah, pressures on Henry to get it edited and sorted ASAP. But as usual, last call, just to sign up for the newsletter. You know where to do that by now. If you don't, head to the Twitter account. You can't really miss it from that point. And we kind of try and make sure that you've got everything that we don't cover here covered on that. And on that note, thanks for listening. If you did, catch you on the next one.
All right. Take it easy.